Everybody, it's Matt from Northwest Graphics, and I'm going to show you all how to wrap a competition ore. What we're going to do is we're going to put this OSU beaver graphic just like this to cover it. It'll look pretty sharp when it's done. So as always, what we're going to do first is we're going to clean off whatever we're wrapping. I'm using just kind of like a, not shop rag, but one of those like lint-free cloths. We reuse them here at the shop. And yeah, and just noticing a little bit of gunk, but nothing too bad. And we'll just go over it one last time, and you just kind of want to take a look. This has a slight texture to it, kind of like reminiscent of like your refrigerator from the 70s. Looks like maybe spray paint or something like that, but yep, feels good. All right, so the weird thing with this, and normally I would just peel all of this backer off from the get-go, but you'll see I'm keying in on this triangle here, and I want that to be right near, maybe not precisely, but right near that edge. So rather than kind of just having it all peeled off and just kind of like letting it settle, what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna use some leather map weights to kind of cheat. You could also tape around, but since what I did is I actually made this about 1 inch bigger all the way around on all sides, just so I can kind of float it around here and not have to be too careful. So I'm using the map weights to kind of just hold it in place just till I get it kind of tacked up. And what I'm just doing is kind of feeling with my thumb here, just where that ore end is. All right, just kind of make sure it feels good. Make sure I've got that kind of margin. Should be good. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna peel back part of this. This is a Avery wrap film. I'm just gonna peel a little bit back. Okay, so with the scissors here, what I'm gonna do is just make sure I don't scratch any of the back, and just get a little corner started. I'm just gonna use my thumb for this part and just kind of tack it on there. I'm not pushing very hard at all. We'll kind of burnish it down at the end. This is just so that I can move these away, and I've kind of got that reference point kind of locked in there. So I can push harder kind of in like a spot or two just to kind of make sure it's gonna stay. Then what I'm gonna do is flip it over and release the whole rest of the graphic film. It's probably counter to what you do, and you can even see like it'll fold over a little bit on itself, and the nice thing about this film is it's really forgiving, and it doesn't have a hard initial tack. It's sticky, but it's not like crazy sticky, and where you get it where it stays is really from when you push down hard on it. So the nice thing about this, I think they call it flight technology, is that you can kind of just post up lightly on it, and if you don't like it, you can just kind of peel it up and try again, and you don't lose any of the effective grab from it by doing that. The nice thing too is if you wrinkle it up, you can use a heat gun on it and it'll conform back. So what I'm just kind of doing here is just with my finger, is I'm kind of just going at a diagonal angle, because it has a curve going this way. So I'm going kind of diagonal against that curve, and what I'm effectively doing is I'm spreading my work out into the top half and the bottom half. And then that way, I've got 2 smaller problems to solve rather than 1 big problem to solve with the convex and concave curves. I'm just lightly going over it. You can also use a squeegee with a felt tip. I've got a couple here. I like to use the looser ones. And by that I mean the squishier ones that have some flex to it. This one's very hard to use it for windows. And we got a medium one. I like to use, I think this is an Avery one as well. And what this does is I can kind of match that contour. I can just kind of slope. And so what you'll see is kind of where those curves are really getting in there, that's where I'm having to fight it. Down here, no problem. Even up here, no problem. So I've got that kind of that nice wide swath now that's eligible. And see, I'm getting a little bit of problems here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually, again, because I haven't really pushed down too hard yet, so I'm actually redoing it. So I'm easing up on that tension that's down here and reworking it here. Yep. So that I can just kind of pull away from where those wrinkles want to happen. And you'll notice there's going to be some like smaller ones. A heat gun will work those out, but I like to kind of really try to avoid that as long as possible. And the main reason being is heat stretches the film, which is good. That's what you want, right? To get it to work on a surface. But then what you're going to have to do is kind of use that heat gun to kind of burn it in to change the memory of the vinyl so that, you know, a week from now, it doesn't want to go back to that first shape that didn't work out. And that's mostly why I like to do it. You can even stretch it while it's cold. Do a cold stretch, and that works fine. And that's typically going to work better. Yeah, and you'll see it just really wants to curve there. So yeah, we'll use a little bit of heat. Just going to use a little bit. I have a dial-in heat gun, so I'm not going crazy. Like you can see, I can actually put my hand in front of it, at least at the beginning. And then what I'm going to do is, rather than try to heat it on, what I'm going to do is just where I'm fighting it, I'm just going to warm it up a little bit, just a little bit, so that it's just a little bit more pliable. And what I'm going to do is give it some tension on the top and the bottom. And that stretching is going to work a lot better than trying to heat it like directly to it. And you'll see there, that's a lot prettier. Got a little bit of tension here, but again, because I haven't locked anything really down yet, I can just move that tension away from the problem. You'll see, still having a little bit of a beef with it, but there we go. You see that alignment, pretty decent. All right, so now we're really like the top of this oar has quite a bit more of a scoop to it. I'm sure there's a very technical rowing term for it, but I'm going to call it a scoop. And what I'm going to do is just, again, I'm making this just a little bit of heat just to make it pliable. And then I'm going to pull to stretch that film before it's laid down. So it's almost it's like a pre-stretch. And by doing that, I can kind of see where that tension is going to go. And then that way I can avoid the problems. You'll see, like there's still a little bit there. That scoop at the top's really wanting to fight, but overall, not terrible. There, we've got that all nice and smooth. And you'll see there's a little bit of tension coming off. A little bit's okay. You don't want to have this like, you know, being totally wrecked to the edge, because then you know you're under some tension. But there, now what I'm doing is I'm kind of burnishing down those edges. There we go. So now you can see that clearly defined edge. A good thing that a heat gun's good for, and I can see it right here, and you might not be able to see it on the camera, is there's actually a bubble, and I can actually heat this up and it'll highlight them. This has the Avery technology, so what I like to do is just go over lightly, and what it actually will do is I can just burnish those bubbles out. So now they're gone. Now I'll take a stiffer squeegee, kind of burnish down those edges. Now I know I'm kind of just going across the whole thing now, and I'm giving it the first real pressure that I've given it this whole time. All right, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I've got my handy dandy break off blade, and what I'm going to do is just extend it almost like about an inch out. And then what I like to do is just kind of like start not at a corner, but kind of near a corner. And then I'll just kind of ride it along that edge. All right, and then I'll just continue on, kind of working those edges. And I kind of like to slope it just a little bit towards, and just kind of helps that edge glide just a little better. All right, and again, these edges here. It's a little difficult because there's the, I don't want to scratch anything with the blade, so I'm just going very, very, very lightly here. All right, and we'll just get that last part done. All right, and then that last little bit there. And then what I like to do kind of as a final step here is make sure all those edges are nice and burnished down. So let's give it again that kind of, that swoop with a nice hard edge. And then just make sure that if you're going like that on it, it's not going to start peeling up. Because while this is it's a very durable film, it's technically a removable film. So I do want to make sure that those edges are going to stay. And then there we've got it. And luckily the printing on that, the orange, I actually did quite a good job matching. So there we go. There's how you wrap a complicated convex concave curve and with wrap film. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Matt from Northwest Graphic Imaging. Thanks. Have a good one.